Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blue Skills Training Program. I'm Isaac Gimberson, and I'm your coach on the program. This week, we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence, EI. So, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is basically the ability to manage your own emotions and to understand the emotions of those around you. People with emotional intelligence can identify how they are feeling, what the feeling means, and how the emotion impacts their behavior and the behavior of others. In reality, you cannot manage the emotions of people, right? But if you can identify their emotions, you can understand what informs their behavior, and then you can be able to understand where they are coming from, and then know how best to react or interact with them. Emotional intelligence is very important because research says that even people with emotional intelligence tend to do better at work and in business than people who only have IQ, just intelligence. So, emotional intelligence is a very important aspect or skill that we must have if we're going to succeed in business and at work. So, emotional intelligence is made up of four components. The first component is self awareness. Self awareness allows us to recognize and understand our own emotions. Okay. The second component is self management. It involves controlling your emotions and responses to different situations. The third component of emotional intelligence is empathy, or what you call social awareness. This simply means the ability to empathize with others and understand their emotions and then respond appropriately. The fourth component of emotional intelligence is social skills, and that is the ability to build strong relationships with other people. Examples of positive and negative emotions. Examples of positive emotions is joy, happiness, excitement, gratitude, etc. And then example of negative emotions are sadness, jealousy, discouragement, and anger, loneliness. All of these things are examples of negative emotions. So, how do you recognize and manage positive and negative emotions? I'll give you a couple of points. Number one is you have to be aware of how you feel. Okay? Name and accept the emotion. Okay? Living in denial is a wrong way of building your emotional intelligence. Okay? If you're angry, admit that you are angry. Then you can now decide how to react about the anger. If you are sad, admit that you are sad, and then you can now decide how to react. But the key to managing your emotions or managing positive or negative emotions is to first of all accept the emotion that this is what I feel right now, and then you can now decide how to react. The second point is to figure out what caused that feeling. Okay, every feeling, every emotion always has a trigger, whether it is good or bad. It is always very important in order for you to manage that emotion. You have to know what the trigger is, know what is the source. If you were angry, what brought about the anger? If you are happy, what is bringing about the happiness, and all of that. Then the third point is do not blame. What do I mean by that? Now, the fact that you have recognized a source, and the source of a particular emotion, whether positive or negative, can be something or someone, right? So if somebody did something that made you angry, while in as much as you are identifying the source and you find out that that's the person that made you angry, it doesn't mean that you should blame the person for getting you angry, right? So what you're supposed to do is basically identify the source, and if the source is a person, you mustn't even blame the person because sometimes the person does not even know that he's bringing up that kind of emotion in you. So don't blame, don't play the blame game when you are identifying the source of that emotion. The next point is accept all your emotions and then decide to manage or eliminate the negative and then reinforce the positive. So, like I said, you first of all accept the emotions. Then, if it is a positive emotion, you reinforce it. And if it is a negative emotion, you find a way to manage or eliminate it. So if you're sad, why are you feeling sad, and what can you do, what activity can you do to make you happy again, and all of that. That's what you're doing. You're trying to manage a negative emotion or eliminate it, right? Then next is what? Take action. Think of the best way to express that particular emotion. Number 6, learn how to change your mood, right? So when you're sad, what do you do to become happy, right? If you are discouraged, what do you do to motivate yourself? Last week we talked about self-motivation, right? So when you are demotivated, when you are feeling discouraged, what do you do to? So you have to, one of the things that you do in emotional intelligence is that you have to learn how to switch your mood. And like I said, you have to learn how to maintain the positive emotion and then quickly manage or eradicate the negative emotions. Now, I'll just give you a few tricks or a few points on how to practice emotional intelligence in your daily life. There are 3 of them. One is try to slow down your reaction to emotions, right? Emotional intelligent people are people who do not react with impulse. So whenever something has occurred or something has come up and it has triggered an emotion in you, the first thing you must do is that you must slow down your reaction time. And slowing down your reaction time means you take the time to think, what is the cause of this emotion? Why am I feeling this way? And what is the best way to react? That shows that you are in charge of your emotion and not your emotion being in charge of you. Secondly, make the effort to understand what people are communicating every day. So sometimes emotions can come out of a misunderstanding, right? So one of the things that you must do to build your emotional intelligence is that always try to understand what people are trying to communicate, right? So that it doesn't spark the wrong emotion due to misunderstanding. And then next is try to communicate more effectively so that you can be understood. So frustration can come out of you not being understood, right? And it's usually because you're not communicating effectively. So you must be able to hone your communication skills in such a way that you can easily be understood and then you don't get frustrated or come up with negative emotions because of that. All right. So this week, this brings us to the end of the class for this week. But usually we end our class with a reflection, right? So you're going to think, how does emotional intelligence, right, help me in my life, in my business, and in my career? So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class.